Good morning. Welcome to Think and Grow Rich Daily Hangouts. Sandy. I apologize for being a little bit late. I went to bed about 2.5 hours ago. So I just when my alarm clock rang, I didn't get out of bed straight away, I have to admit. And I didn't comprehend what time it was either. I feel a bit zombified, to be honest, but I've made a commitment to do this, and so I'm going to do it. So if you're watching, you're very welcome to come out and read or share. It would be great, as I'm feeling slightly like a zombie, but glad to be here to share that. Actually, the reason why I went to bed so late was that for the third time this week, I was asked onto the company I work with. They're doing events at the moment, live events, for a webcast taking place on Saturday, and I was asked on for the third time to share my story because of some recent successes I've had and a video I'd made, more particularly last night. So I just found it really interesting because, for a long time I used to watch their hangouts and their calls, and listen to their calls, feeling like a complete newbie, and like I was very far from any kind of success. For a long time, sometimes a year can feel like a really long time. In the scheme of things, it's not. But week in, week out, that's the same feeling, the same habit of feeling like a newbie. And just when you stick to something, things really start to turn around. And this book's really helped me with that. The burning desire, the faith that you can do it, the auto-suggestion with the target that you have, it will pay off. So I just wanted to share that. It did mean, unfortunately, that I did go to bed at 7:30. I was too excited to sleep. But oh well, that doesn't really matter, does it? So we're reading about organized planning. I've just posted the links in the Facebook group. I hope I posted the right ones in my zombie-like state, so that you can get in if you'd like to. So I'm just going to share my screen. Let's do this. And so we're organized planning, the crystallization of desire into reality. So the metaphor I've been using for this is, if you had you wanted to go somewhere, you would plan it. You would look at where you wanted to go. You'd find some kind of way of getting there. You'd look at what you required. And it's the same thing with the ideas that you have, the targets that you have. So we're reading the capital value of your services. So the last reading yesterday was actually reading about how to write a brief, how to apply for a job completely out of the blue, basically, when someone's not expecting it, and to write in a way which is really thorough and well prepared, so that people are like, oh, actually this person could be really an asset to our company or our organization, and about leadership, being a leader in the sense of stepping up and just deciding you're going to go there. So now we're reading about the capital value of your services. The person whose income is derived entirely from the sale of personal services is no less a merchant than the person who sells commodities. And it might well be added, such a person is subject to exactly the same rules of conduct as the merchant who sells merchandise. This has been emphasized because the majority of people who live by the sale of personal services make the mistake of considering themselves free from the rules of conduct and the responsibilities attached to those who are engaged in marketing commodities. The new way of marketing services has practically forced both employer and employee into partnership alliance, into consideration the rights of the third party, the public they serve. The day of the go-getter has passed. He has been supplanted by the go-giver. High-pressure methods in business finally blew the lid off. There will never be the need to put the lid back on, because in the future, business will be conducted by methods that require no pressure. The actual capital value of your brains may be determined by the amount of income you can produce by marketing your services. A fair estimate of the capital value of your services may be made by multiplying your annual income by 16 2/3. as it is reasonable to estimate that your annual income represents 6% of your capital value. Money rents for 6% per annum. Money is worth no more than brains. It is often worth much less. Competent brains, if effectively marketed, represent a much more desirable form of capital than that which is required to conduct a business dealing in commodities, because brains are a form of capital which cannot be permanently depreciated through depressions, nor can this form of capital be stolen or spent. Moreover, the money which is essential for the conduct of business is as worthless as a sand dune until it has been mixed with efficient brains. The 30 major causes of failure. How many of these are holding you back? Life's greatest tragedy consists of men and women who earnestly try and fail. The tragedy lies in the overwhelmingly large majority of people who fail as compared to the few who succeed. I have had the privilege of analysing 98% of whom were classed as failures. There is something radically wrong with a civilization and a system of education which permits 98% of the people to go through life as failures. But I did not write this book for the purpose of moralizing on the rights and wrongs of the world. That would require a book 100 times the size of this one. My analysis proved that there are 30 major reasons for failure and 30 major principles through which people accumulate fortunes. In this chapter, a description of the 30 major causes of failure will be given. As you go over the list, work yourself by it, point by point, for the purposes of discovering how many of these causes of failure stand between you and success. Number 1, an unfavorable hereditary background. There is but little, if anything, which can be done for people who are born with a deficiency in brain power. This philosophy offers but one method of bridging this weakness, through the aid of the mastermind. Observe with profit, however, that this is the only one of the 30 causes of failure which may not be easily corrected by any individual. 2. Lack of a well-defined purpose in life. There is no hope of success for the person who does not have a central purpose to aim. 98 have analysed had no such aim. Perhaps this was the number 3, lack of ambition to aim above mediocrity. We offer no hope for the person who is so indifferent as to not want to get ahead in life and who is not willing to pay the price. 4. Insufficient education. This is a handicap which may be overcome with comparative. Best educated people are often those who are known as self-made or self-educated. It takes more than a college degree to make one a person of education. Any person who is educated is one who has learned to get whatever he wants in life without violating the rights of others. Education consists not so much of knowledge, but of knowledge effectively and persistently applied. People are paid not merely for what they know, but more particularly for what they do with that which they know. Number 5, lack of self-discipline. Discipline comes through self-control. This means that one must control all negative qualities. Before you can control conditions, you must first control yourself. Self-mastery is the hardest job you will ever tackle. If you do not conquer self, you will be conquered by self. You may see at one and the same time both your best friend and your greatest enemy by stepping in front of a mirror. Ill health. Number 6. No person may enjoy outstanding success without good health. Many of the causes of ill health are subject to mastery and control. These in the main are: number 1, overeating of foods not conducive to health. 4. Wrong habits of thought giving expression to negatives. C. Wrong use of and overindulgence in sex. D. Lack of proper physical exercise. E. An inadequate supply of fresh air due to improper breathing. Number 7. Unfavorable environmental influences during childhood. As the twig is bent, so shall the tree grow. Most people who have criminal tendencies acquire them as the result of bad environment and improper associates during childhood. Number 8. Procrastination. This is one of the most common causes of failure. Old man procrastination stands within the shadow of every human being, waiting his opportunity to spoil one's chances of success. Most of us go through life as failures because we are waiting for the time to be right to start doing something worthwhile. Do not wait. The time will never just be right. Start where you stand and work with whatever tools you may have at your command, and better tools will be found as you go along. Number 9, lack of persistence. Most of us are good starters, but poor finishers of everything we begin. Moreover, people are prone to give up at the first signs of defeat. There is no substitute for persistence. The person who makes persistence their watchword discovers that old man failure finally becomes tired and makes his departure. Failure cannot cope with persistence. Number 10, a negative personality. There is no hope of success for the person who repels people through a negative personality. Success comes through the application of power, and power is attained through the cooperative efforts of other people. A negative personality will not induce cooperation. Number 11, lack of controlled sexual urge. Sex energy is the most powerful of all the stimuli which move people into action. Because it is the most powerful of the emotions, it must be controlled through transmutation and converted into other channels. Number 12, uncontrolled desire for something for nothing. The gambling instinct drives millions of people to failure. Evidence of this may be found in a study of the Wall Street crash of '29, during which millions of people tried to make money by gambling on stock margins. Number 13, a lack of a well-defined power of decision. People who succeed reach decisions promptly and change them, if at all, very slowly. Men and women who fail reach decisions, if at all, very slowly, and change them frequently and quickly. Indecision and procrastination are twin brothers. Where one is found, the other may usually be found also. Kill off this pair before they completely hog-tie you to the treadmill of failure. 14. One or more of the 6 basic fears. These fears have been analyzed for you in a later chapter. They must be mastered before you can market your services effectively. Wrong selection of a mate in marriage. This is the most common cause of failure. The relationship of marriage brings people intimately into contact. Unless this relationship is harmonious, failure is likely to follow. Moreover, it will be a form of failure that is marked by misery and unhappiness, destroying all signs of ambition. 16. Overcaution. The person who takes no chances generally has to take whatever is left when others are through choosing. Overcaution is as bad as undercaution. Both are extremes to be guarded against. Life itself is filled with the element of chance. 17. Wrong selection of associates in business. This is one of the most common causes of failure in business. In marketing personal services, one should use great care to select an employer who will be an inspiration, and who is himself intelligent and successful. We emulate those with whom we associate most closely. Pick an employer who is worth emulating. 18. Superstition and prejudice. Superstition is a form of fear. It is also a sign of ignorance. Men who succeed keep open minds and are afraid of nothing. Number 19. Wrong selection of a vocation. No man can succeed in a line of endeavor which he does not like. The most essential step in the marketing of personal services is that of selecting an occupation into which you can throw yourself wholeheartedly. 20. Lack of concentration of effort. The jack of all trades seldom is good at any. Concentrate all your efforts on one definite chief aim. Number 21. The habit of indiscriminate spending. The spendthrift cannot succeed mainly because they stand eternally in fear of poverty. Form the habit of systematically saving by putting aside a definite percentage of your income. Money in the bank gives one a very safe foundation of courage when bargaining for the sale of personal services. Without money, one must take what one is offered and be glad to take it. 22. Lack of enthusiasm. Without enthusiasm, one cannot be convincing. Moreover, enthusiasm is contagious, and the person who has it under control is generally welcome in any group of people. 23. Intolerance. The person with a closed mind on any subject seldom gets ahead. Intolerance means that one has stopped acquiring knowledge. The most damaging forms of intolerance are those connected with religious, racial, and political differences of opinion. 24. Intemperance. The most damaging forms of intemperance are connected with eating, strong drink, and sexual activities. Overindulgence in any of these is fatal to success. 25. Inability to cooperate with others. Most people lose their positions and their big opportunities in life because of this fault, than for all the other reasons to combine. It is a fault which no well-informed business person or leader will tolerate. 26. Possession of power that was not acquired through self-effort. Sons and daughters of wealthy men and others who inherit money which they did not earn. in the hands of one that did not acquire it gradually is often fatal to success. Quick riches are more dangerous than poverty. 27. Intentional dishonesty. There is no substitute for honesty. One may be temporarily dishonest by force of circumstances over which one has no control, without permanent damage, but there is no hope for the person who is dishonest by choice. Sooner or later his deeds will catch up with him, and he will pay by loss of reputation and perhaps even loss of liberty. 28. Egotism and vanity. These qualities serve as red lights which warn others to keep away. They are fatal to success. And 29. Guessing instead of thinking. Most people are too indifferent or lazy to acquire facts which than to think accurately. They prefer to act on opinions formed by guesswork or snap judgments. 30. Lack of capital. This is a common cause of failure amongst those who start out in business for the first time. Without sufficient reserve of capital to absorb the shock of their mistakes and to carry them over until they have established a reputation. 31. Under this, name any particular cause of failure from which you have suffered that has not been included in the foregoing list. In these 30 majors of causes of failure is found a description of the tragedy of life, which obtains for practically every person who tries and fails. It will be helpful if you can induce someone who knows you well to go over this list with you and help you to analyze you by the 30 causes of failure. It may be beneficial if you try this alone. Most people cannot see themselves as others see them. You may be one who cannot. The oldest of admonitions is, person, know thyself. If you market merchandise successfully, you must know the merchandise. The same is true in marketing personal services. You should know all your weaknesses in order that you may either bridge them or eliminate them entirely. You should know your strength in order that you may call attention to it when selling your services. You can know yourself only through accurate analysis. The folly of ignorance in connection with self was displayed by a young man who applied to the manager of a well-known business for a position. He made a very good impression until the manager asked him what salary he expected. He replied that he had no fixed sum in mind, lack of a definite aim. The manager then said, "We will pay you all you are worth after we try you out for a week." "I will not accept it," the applicant replied, "because I am getting more than that where I am now employed." Before you even start to negotiate for a readjustment of your salary in your present position or seek employment elsewhere, be sure that you are worth more than you now receive. It is one thing to want money. Everyone wants money, but it is something entirely different to be worth more. Many people mistake their wants for their just dues. Your financial requirements or wants have nothing whatsoever to do with your worth. Your value is established entirely by your ability to render useful service or your capacity to induce others to render useful service, to render such service. Okay, so I'll come back here. I'll stop there for now. Okay guys, so we read about the 30 major causes of failure. Isn't it interesting that there's 13 steps to riches, as he outlines throughout this whole book, and then 30 causes of failure? It's quite cool, because in one sense, it means that there's not that many steps to master in order to create above normal success. On the other hand, it means you need to be aware of a lot of different things that can trip you up. So if we had guessed that, I'd be interested to know, what ones spoke to you as we went through them. So let me just do that for you guys here. So let's see. I know that something that tripped me up for a while was I used to be very organized and would write things down, make massive lists, would do, Excel spreadsheets with strategy for the next 3 months for my work, not my personal life. This got me very far, actually. I was a lobbyist, and I ended up being promoted to campaigns manager when I was in my former life as an activist and campaigner for women's rights and against poverty. And I was very very organized, I would say. I was always writing lists. And then I actually got really ill and did a lot of personal development, and for a while sort of rejected all of that. I stopped writing things down, I stopped making a to-do list. I stopped planning at months ahead, and I became a little bit more scattered, I would say. You know, at the time I thought I was just kind of following my spontaneity, but now I see, having sort of come back full circle, and this is just me, but it did strike me that when he was saying, you know, focus on one thing, decide to master it, that there's a beauty in that. And again, I don't want to say this is the only way to do it, but I just want to share that I experienced doing that and having a high amount of success, you know, going on television, being promoted, changing British law before the age of 27, to then sort of rejecting all of that and not really having much success for the next 3 years. You know, I started to teach Zumba after getting ill. I decided to do something completely different that would make people happy, and I had a thriving business, but I can see that I didn't really master what I was doing as well. You know, my heart wasn't quite as in it as much as the campaigning, and I was doing lots of different things at the same time. You know, trying to learn Pilates, fitness certification. I even was trying to teach music at one point at the same time, because I had decided that it was better to just do lots of different things. And so I can see now how that actually slowed me down, really, because I think there's a beauty in mastering something, becoming really good at it, immersing yourself in whatever trainings you need to learn about it, and doing, you know, becoming almost obsessional with it, so that you do start to compress time frames. You know, like a colleague of mine is a great example of this. I was watching one of his videos yesterday, and I thought he's really doing this very well, because he actually is a dancer. He is a full-time dancer, but he's also an online marketer, and he specializes in making beautiful videos. And you can tell he spent a long time making those videos. And in fact, he just published a video that he'd spent 17 hours in a row editing. And I did something similar as well, and and I've got a similar kind of interest as him in making videos. And I just think, you know, when you focus on one thing and you start to get really good at it, you'll just stand out by sheer fact. But so many people don't really specialize. A lot of people tend to jump around a lot and get enthusiastic about something, do it for 2 weeks, and then they stop. You know, it's amazing the amount of people that do that, and I've been one of them. And it was actually developing the habit of making a video every day, which gave me this massive awareness of how it's a lot more simple to create a habit than people think. And if you're active in the Facebook group, you'll know that I'm a big believer in this, because I didn't know that until then. I would do that like other people do. I would start something, get excited, and often I wouldn't really follow it through. And with videos, I made such a public commitment that I was going to make daily videos that I couldn't do that. You know, I tried to. I sort of flaked out a few times in the first month, but I got to the end of the month having made a video for 30 days, and I realized, wow, this is actually not as hard as I thought, making a video. And I started to keep making them, and I went on for a whole year, and I developed a habit of making a video every day, which I still do to this day. And that made me realize, well, if I can do that with videos, I can do that with anything. And so I began developing other habits like meditation, stretching every day, flossing my teeth every day, reading a book every day, things that I knew would support me to go where I wanted to go. And so, you know, when you do that, you can develop habits that support you in becoming a master at something. And I found that doing that sets you apart, and you just start to get more confidence. You start to speak differently when it comes to that thing. You start to be perceived as an expert in other people's eyes and in your own eyes, you know, because you are literally mastering it. And you know, some people say it takes 7 years to master something, but you can start to get very good at it in less time than that. And if you do continue for 7 years, then you will be, you know, you will, by sheer fact that so many people do not last, you will become an expert in whatever you're doing. So as long as you're committing to learning more, to continually expanding, as Napoleon was saying, So what other traits do we have here? Um, Superstition and prejudice. People who are superstitious have a form of fear, choosing the wrong associates in business, being too careful, choosing the wrong partner in marriage, having one or more of the 6 basic fears, making decisions very slowly, trying to get something for nothing, or being like a sex addict, basically, is another one that he talked about. Having a negative personality, not being persistent, I just talked about that. Procrastinating, just waiting and waiting to start stuff. Not taking care of your body, not being disciplined. Again, that comes back to just kind of starting and then not finishing. Not getting educated about something, that also comes back to becoming a master, because if you want to master something, you probably need to learn new skills that you don't currently know to educate yourself about things. So that's important as well. Lack of ambition to aim above mediocrity. That makes me laugh every time I read it. So many people do seem content to be mediocre, and I think that's evidenced by the fact so many people start something and just finish 2 weeks later. If you truly didn't accept that as your level, you would just keep going. You would develop that habit. It will pay off. Not having a well-defined purpose in life. And some people say, it's boring to have a purpose, that it means that your life becomes predictable, you're not present anymore. I personally, I think it can only help, because it doesn't mean that you predict every aspect of your life, as we talked about yesterday. It just means that you just know where your boat is going, rather than just kind of putting a boat out on the sea and just seeing where it takes you. You're going to the Bahamas, for example. You don't know whether there's going to be sunshine the whole way, or storms, or which other boats you're going to encounter, or exactly what journey you're going to trace across the oceans, but you know that that's where you're heading. And I think that's what we can do with the tools that this book provides. So I hope that those 30 causes of failure have helped you have more awareness of where you might perhaps have some gaps. He suggests actually finding someone and going through this list with them so that they can give you their opinion. And I think that could be actually quite useful. You need to find someone who knows you well, and someone who, I would say, who just sees you as you are, doesn't judge you. Someone who's aware of you but doesn't judge you. Because sometimes if you ask perhaps someone in your family about this list, they'd probably go, oh, you like this, you like that, and there'd be this not very nice energy behind it of judgment. Who could you ask in your environment who would be willing to sort of go through this quickly with you, but just from a space of being consciously aware of where you are and not judging you for it, So just wanted to make that point. Okay, so and if you don't have anyone to go through that with you, then go through it yourself, and ask the universe to have more awareness of where you could actually improve. As I was going through this, I was wondering that for myself, and I know for me, one of the things I've had to work on is wrong selection of a vocation. I realized at one point that what I was doing, teaching dance classes, it was fun, but it was never going to change my reality in the way that I was looking to change it. It was never going to allow me to completely eradicate poverty from my life and become an example of that for other people, which is one of the biggest things I'd like to do with my lifetime. Having been an anti-poverty campaigner for so long, I just realized at one point, okay, this is fun, but I earn €5 a class, and there'll always be this unless I can market it and make DVDs or something, which I'm not actually allowed to as a Zumba instructor. You can't. Only the company can do that. I could just very clearly see where my income was going to always be capped, and that was, something that led me to look for other things where there wouldn't be a cap, like network marketing or online marketing. So, and also, I also had issues with taking a long time to make a decision. Not always. Sometimes I just know instantly to follow my gut, but sometimes I have not trusted that gut instinct, and I've made some really rubbish decisions actually. So that's something that I've worked on and still are working on. And also fear. And I worked on this a lot the first time we read this, and it's actually improved, I'm happy to say. So if you do this, it will work. Fearing the worst possible outcome, and I still find myself doing this sometimes. So it's really like training your brain to focus on the best possible outcome instead. Literally visualizing the very opposite is what I started to do actually, which really helped. You know, for example, if you're worrying about something happening, start imagining it happening as you would like it to, instead of going down the wormhole, the rabbit hole of, well, what would happen if it did happen like that? You know, for example, if you're dreading seeing someone because you think it's going to not be very fun, you know, I in the past would have a bad habit of allowing that worry to sort of sit in my mind a lot, you know, allowing it to pop up every now and then, having this heavy feeling in my chest as I thought about it. And what I did the first time around with this, I did something I got from Bob Proctor. I wrote down on a piece of paper, I now eliminate the bad habit of always worrying about the worst outcome. And I wrote on a new piece of paper, I developed the habit of visualizing the best possible outcome. And I smashed up the first piece of paper. And I have to say, it did something, because I definitely do that much less than before. And I still sometimes find myself doing it, but I would say it's reduced by about 70%, which is a lot. So because when your thoughts create things, you know, if you do have those worries, you literally create those things. I've seen that again and again. And so what if you could turn it around and start visualizing the things that would make you really happy? You know, Bob Proctor was reading You Were Born Rich yesterday, and he was talking about that. You know, get into the habit of throughout your day just visualizing what it would be like, what things you'll do once you've attained your main target right now. And that can be really fun, you know, just imagining being congratulated, or you know, going on a stage, or you know, having a book published, or hitting a New York Times bestseller list, you know, whatever it is that gets you excited. Just start imagining that. You know, I even have a song that I listen to that I imagine I'll ask to play when I go and speak on a stage and dance to. And whenever I listen to that song, it gets me excited, and it gets this energy going through my body, because I know I'm helping it to come into reality, because I can just see it's going to happen, you know. And the more you do that, you'll see it too. It's like you build up this expectation. So I hope that this morning's readings has helped you. And I'll post in the group for the habits of the week. I completely forgot to do that last Friday because I couldn't actually get onto the internet. So you can share how your habit is going. My habit is actually to read a card I have, Bob Proctor style, with my targets. I have to admit, I've been not very good at this, mainly because as a woman, I don't always have pockets. I wear skirts a lot. So I keep forgetting to bring the piece of paper with me. But I will figure something out for that. Maybe I should put them on a necklace or something in a locket. So have a great day, everyone, a great weekend. Sorry again for the late start today. I shall be back at the same time on Monday. If you'd like to join in the live hangout, you're very welcome to. Have a lovely day, and let's just remember that you can really change your thoughts, change your mind, and change your life, as one of my mentors, Diane Hockman, likes to say. I just love that. So I'll see you soon.